feel like X-Men is finally back in a way that it hasn't in years. And if you wanted to start reading the comics, I wouldn't say you had to start with #1, but if you wanted to, this will be a pretty good way to do it. So this actually surprised me. I wasn't expecting it at all, but this is the complete original years of the first X-Men series, complete with Comic Sans, and published by Penguin Classics. I remember them from the Scholastic days. And the reason I say you wouldn't have to necessarily start here is because this is before the Giant X-Men, the all-new, the all-different, the uncanny. This is the classic original X-Men, and therefore a lot of the ideas are still kind of cooking. As far as we know, the only mutants that exist yet are the ones that we see within this series. But there are still some original concepts that we see throughout the entire series, like the Sentinels and fighting to secure their place in society and being hated and feared and all that by regular people, and finding ways to fit into main society. And this book contains all original 66 issues that came before the Wolverines or the Storms, the Nightcrawlers that you're all familiar with. This is just the core original 5 members along with Professor X. And aside from it being a good collection of all these issues, I think the quality is also really nice about this. Like, look at that raised texture. The coloring on both this cover page and the interior are just elite. Honestly, a lot of reprints of classic comics have a big issue with the coloring, but this looks so vibrant and beautiful. They didn't even skimp on the quality of the page. This is a really fine edition. On top of that, you know, it being a Penguin book, it comes with a lot of really nice context in between them. It comes with the original lettering pages, and it comes with a lot of really interesting history, like stuff that I had never even heard of. Like, look at this amazing adult fantasy excerpt from number 14. It's written by Stan Lee with art from Steve Ditko, and look, it has the original mention of mutants in here. And funny enough, you know, it's a big meme in X-Men fandom that, like, so many mutants are psychics, and literally the first mutant that they came up with before even the idea of the X-Men was a psychic, telepathic, mind-reading mutant. And there are hints of like a secret society of mutants that, you know, we never really get to see of. It's just a little short story, but it just shows like some of the ideas that they were coming up with at the time and what led into everything we know now. And it's got some really thoughtful and interesting forwards by Rainbow Rowell and an introduction by Ben Saunders. And one of my favorite things about reading these early years of X-Men is just seeing all the ideas coming forth, you know, like seeing what they kept, what they left. Like, the very first thing they ever do in the book is go to the Danger Room and show off all their team working skills and introducing the personalities of a lot of these characters. And they were still figuring out what they wanted to do with villains like Magneto. Like, I feel like it's really interesting to have this villain who's also very sympathetic and has the same problems as the heroes, but comes at it with revenge instead of a want to join humanity. And on top of that, we have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who are also introduced as villains, but are very sympathetic straight from the beginning and have more of a strive to do good. And we see ideas that they left behind, like Professor X being in a love triangle with Jean Grey. So yeah, as a huge X-Men fan, I love having this in my collection, and I think it's the best way to read these stories currently. And for like nearly $30, I think it's perfect.